Hello everyone, welcome back. It's Monday and it's another episode of Rambling in My Room about wrestling. And last night was Survivor Series. Last night was a bit of a bittersweet night for wrestling fans worldwide as we saw the retirement of The Undertaker, this time for real. It was just the 30th anniversary of his debut in the WWE. It was a big celebration. They rolled out the red carpet. Kane was there in full gimmick. Everyone was there, and they played a really touching hologram of Paul Bearer at the end. And that's it. Now, no more Undertaker. And as great as this is, that this legend of the professional wrestling industry has been given such a perfect and fitting send off, I am a moany bastard. So I'm here to have a bit of a moan. Not about that, obviously. The man's a legend. He deserves every success that he got in this business. But there's some things I just kind of need to talk about. And as well, some things with Survivor Series in general that I'll just tick off quickly. So first of all, I will admit I don't really watch a lot of Raw or SmackDown these days. Just about too much wrestling. I watch Impact and I watch AEW. And I keep up with Raw and I keep up with SmackDown. I sometimes watch NXT if I can be bothered. But as far as I'm aware, AJ Styles' big bodyguard, Jordan Omogbehin, or Omogbehin, or however you pronounce his second name, I'm unsure, Omogbehin, I believe, Omogbehin. The big guy, the big massive guy that flanks AJ Styles, was given a new name on Survivor Series. I don't know if he had been presented as that, or if he was just an unnamed bodyguard, but if he was presented with a name and his name has got changed up, because I've just seen he's had his name changed, but smart wrestling fans know he was in NXT with Malcolm Bivens. If they have just changed that on the fly, what was that about? It would have been like when Chelsea Green was apparently going to change her name to Victorious before she broke her wrist. That's rant 1, mini rant. Mini rant 2 on the same match. The story going into this is that Team Raw don't like each other, and Team SmackDown, even though they don't really like each other, they're like, oh, you know what? We'll all work together because we're all on SmackDown, because we're all friends on the brand, which I already fucking hate. I hate that. Back in the day when it was Survivor Series and they did sort of talk Team Raw and Team SmackDown stuff, typically it was a united front with faces and heels on either team, if I remember correctly. Like, why would they not have face and a heel on each brand wrestle for the captaincy, and then they can just recruit who they want, so it doesn't feel weird and disjointed? I don't. But Team SmackDown got swept. Clean sweep. 5-0. They shut them out. Also, AJ Styles spent, the 4 years of the brand split. He might have gone to Raw, I don't remember. I don't think so. But he spent, pretty much the entire brand split building up SmackDown. Seth Rollins did the same, making Raw his own. They both brought them to here. And then 3 weeks ago they just swapped and they're on the fucking opposite teams as if... It's stressing me out. And then Lana, they've been doing this storyline where Lana's getting bullied and fucking killed every single week. Then they dropped that 24, this really heart-wrenching 24 on her, maybe it was a Chronicle, the really heart-wrenching documentary talking about like all the stuff she's had to go through over the past couple of years being in WWE. And then she was a sole survivor, and I was like, great. And then it turns out she came in, she wrestled for a bit, she got tagged out, and then Nia Jax, her big bully, went, you stand on the stairs and you don't do anything because no one likes you and you're not good at wrestling. And then she won by being the sole survivor because Nia and someone got, maybe Nia's, but there was a double count out and she was a sole survivor because of that. Oh, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. And then Sami Zayn, you just continue to embarrass that man like he doesn't exist. Oh, I'm getting so angry. But it all leads back to the main point of this video, which is, I guess, a critique of the last 5 years. Like I said at the start of this video, I love The Undertaker. The Undertaker, from the second I got into wrestling, was always someone I was obsessed with, I was fascinated by. He's this undead zombie man who shoots lightning out of his hands and does a cool thing where he rolls his eyes back. And he's great, and he's huge, and he's amazing, and he's athletic. And then as time went on, he got older, everyone gets older. There's a man behind The Undertaker, Mark Calloway, had been wrestling for years. and his body was catching up with him. And Undertaker had the perfect retirement storyline built into his character, and that was the streak. Undertaker were undefeated at WrestleMania, I believe it was, 21-0 before Lesnar did it? 21? Something like that. And then Lesnar beat him. And in my opinion, Lesnar should not have beat him. I understand that Lesnar was on that thing where he was going through the entire roster. He killed Cena a couple months later. Like in a total squash match, John Cena was squashed on pay-per-view. But in my opinion, it should not have been Lesnar. Because if you don't plan on retiring The Undertaker, why take the streak away from him? And I know that builds Lesnar up huge, but did he need it? The perfect time for him to retire was when we all thought he retired, against Roman. And as we found out, he didn't like that match. And instead went, I'm coming back. I'm going to keep going and I'm going to go out on my terms. And then he had the match with Cena, which went like 3 minutes, when he had trained for it to go 20 minutes and was in the shape for it to go 20 minutes and believes it could have went 20 minutes. And I also believe it could have went 20 minutes. I think, I think Taker and Cena could have had a fun, entertaining match, something that would send him out on a high, on the way that he deserved to go out. And that didn't happen that way. So then he kept coming back from match after match. Then he had the when Shawn Michaels came out of retirement for that match. That one against Triple H at Super Showdown or Super Show Dash Time. Whatever one was the good one, the one in Australia. That was good. And then he went back to Saudi Arabia and had a match with Goldberg, where Goldberg just dropped him on his head and like nearly killed him. And he just kept trying to get that good match before he went out. And he went out with the Boneyard match, which was wildly entertaining, I must say. But overall, it's weird. I just think that they should have had it been unanimous across the board that when Undertaker loses the streak, he retires. And Undertaker should have had creative control over who he loses the streak to. Undertaker fully should have said, I still have time left on this clock. There's still miles in the car. There's still gas in the tank. I can keep going. I'm not going to lose the streak until I physically can't anymore. And I understand it's pro wrestling and retirements come and go. Look at Terry Funk. He's had about 87 of them. But all this stuff with like fanning around with the Undertaker's retirement over and over and over and over again has been to the detriment of younger stars in the company. There's no one on Undertaker's level, and there hasn't been for a while, except for like Cena and Orton. And they're also on their way out, and there's no one on the level of those three. And we're now only down to two. Triple H, I think he's still... Triple H, we're down to three. But when they go, who is it? Roman Reigns? He's great. I love him. Seth Rollins, great. I love him. AJ, brilliant. But no one is on this level. And it's because they've continued to put another Undertaker match ahead of the progression of a lot of stars, instead of just having a plan for retiring the character and having Mark Calloway go out on his own terms. Because of Vince's just whimsical views on professional wrestling, just going, I can do what I want, I made it what it is, he's continuously hurt everything, really. Look at Big E. Big E's push has apparently been dropped because Vince has lost interest. But The Undertaker's retirement goes on after the main event. After the World Champion versus World Champion match, The Undertaker gets his farewell. And I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it. I'm just saying, after a World Champion versus World Champion match, two of the most dominant World Champions we've had in WWE for ages, the two biggest stars WWE has, they then put The Undertaker's thing on after that so everyone can go, remember when wrestling was good? It's just, I don't get it. They took the title off Drew to put it on Randy, seemingly so that Roman could beat Randy and they wouldn't have to give Drew a loss to Roman. Then Drew won it back on Raw, and then he lost to Roman because Roman's the fucking face of the company, which I get, and I'm not saying that Drew shouldn't lose to Roman. I'm just saying, why switch the title, make it seem like you're not sure of Drew McIntyre? It seems like the only person they're sure of in that company is Roman Reigns. And he's been through it. He's been through it all, and he's now finally in the role he deserves to be in. And Roman Reigns could be as big as Undertaker. So could Seth Rollins. So could Andrade. So could Ricochet. So could almost anyone. But WWE goes, well, we don't have the ratings anymore, so let's just keep bringing back people for a 1 week's rating boost and only put time and love and care into that segment. And then people come back and they go, oh look, I don't even know, Batista's going to be on the show. That's class, let's watch Raw tonight. So I got fucking naff into, oh, there's Batista. Cool, that was good. He'll be back next week, not? Cool. So that's next, oh, is that a three-minute match with T-Bar? Nah, let's fucking stop watching. There's no longer any care or craft or time or effort or energy put into booking WWE. There's not. And there hasn't been for a long time, and it's starting to hurt the company. Like, how does Vince lose interest in a guy like Big E? I really don't get it. And there are just so many incredible pro wrestlers in that company, and they are pro wrestlers, they're not sports entertainers, who are just at the behest of this madman who hates the thing that he made famous. He just thinks that he owns everything and everything should be made in his image, and it really annoys me. I tweeted earlier today that when John Cena and Randy Orton retire, I'm actually scared for what's going to happen at WWE, because they cling on to them like they did the Undertaker, like they did Triple H, and I'm not saying they shouldn't. I'm not. Because you brought Hulk Hogan back for that match with The Rock, you brought Hulk Hogan back for quite a few nostalgia runs, but at the same time that Hulk Hogan was coming back to do that, you had like The Rock, you had Stone Cold. Then later on in 2005 and 6 you had Orton and Cena and Triple H and Michaels. But who have we got now? We've got people that I, as a fan, as a pro wrestling fan, as a smarky bastard who watches a lot of pro wrestling, knows what is good and is bad, and know your work rate and all that shit. I'll admit I'm a piece of shit wrestling fan. I like all those guys. I see something in, you know, a guy like Mustafa Ali, or a guy like Cedric Alexander, or a guy like Ricochet, or Sami Zayn, or there's so many. But Vince is just like, nah, they're not big. They're not over 6 feet tall. Okay, what about the guys who are over 6 feet tall? Like Rollins, or Lashley. Or he's like, Lashley, I'm going to have him slap his ass. Which admittedly I enjoyed. But it really does just stress me out. I have a lot of faith in Dominic Mysterio, weirdly. Which I feel like I shouldn't. It feels so dirty that I'm like, I hate WWE for not pushing these indie guys and they just bring in Rey Mysterio's son. But Dominic's actually great. I love Dominic and I've got a lot of faith that they can do something good with him. But also, if they do end up making him the face of the company 4, 5, 6 years down the line, when Roman and Seth and all those guys are on their way out, people will just got Rey Mysterio's son. Okay, cool. What about the genuine stars that have been made by themselves? And I know this isn't a hot take or a new topic. There's probably a million videos on YouTube of people talking about why Vince McMahon continues to just hate his own company and lower his own fucking stock price, it seems. But I just don't get it. And it really stresses me out. And I don't want to seem down and dour, even though this is definitely a down and dour video. Like the celebration of Undertaker last night, it looked incredible. And, you know, no pun intended, hats off to that man. He has done everything for professional wrestling. He is, you know, a big reason that WWE won the war in many respects. But at some point you just have to understand that nostalgia can only take you so far. Nostalgia can only get you here. And WWE have the talent to be here. I'm fucking way up, out the camera, fucking on the floor above. But they're settling at a ceiling because they're relying on proven money draws in an era when wrestling's not as popular. And the fact of the matter is wrestling is not as popular as it was 10 years ago. You've just got to accept that. TV ratings aren't what they used to be. Ratings may be down, okay, but people record it, people consume it in different ways. YouTube clips are how I, for a couple of years, actually consumed a lot of my Raw and SmackDown because I had the network, but the network doesn't show Raw and SmackDown, so I was watching the YouTube clips that I enjoyed or wanted to see. and would, you know, actively like, seek out those matches if I could be bothered. But you've got to look at the metrics like that, and Vince is just going, no one watches TV anymore. Fuck it, will Undertaker, he'll come back, he'll wrestle someone, he'll have Kane back, Kane will throw a big boot. I've seen a film in a movie, nah, have him back, lock in an STF. Orton, what you up to? You want the world title again? For no reason after losing to Drew like 8 times. I just don't. Stress me out. But like I say, all the best to The Undertaker. I wish him the best in his retirement. And in the nicest way possible, I really hope I don't see him wrestle again. Because we don't need to. But it's Vince, so he'll probably be back at WrestleMania next year. But for now, that is it. For another Monday video, another rambling, another edition of me being a sour-faced bastard in front of my camera. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Tomorrow there will be a list video, and it's a little follow-up to last week's list video. So I hope you guys enjoy that as well. I'll see you then. Be sure to like, share to all your wrestling friends, even your friends who used to watch wrestling, used to like The Undertaker, and stopped watching because of the reasons I mentioned. Look at this guy. He feels your pain. Comment any future video ideas that you think would be cool for me to talk about. Any list ideas as well. And I'll see you back here tomorrow for a list, and on Wednesday and Thursday for reviews. See you later.